Hello, YouTube. I'm your daily trader, Ben, and today we're missing Kagan. However, today we're going to be going over retail chart deception again. Now, what I really want to clarify here is last time we focused a lot on trendline manipulation, right? I know at some point we're going to go over support and resistance, which will be the biggest game changer. However, today we are going to focus on chart pattern deception. Now, a lot of you again have probably not have had retail experience and or have only had SMC experience. My goal is to kind of expose you to how retail trades in order to know how to play the reverse against them, right? Now, I used to be retail for around 6 years, so I have a pretty good understanding of the majority of retail patterns and or how to trade retail, which is exactly why I know where retail is getting trapped in the market. Now, I want to keep this video short so that you guys are able to go out and start studying using some of these methodologies. I already went ahead and back tested a couple areas in which I have seen chart pattern manipulation just to prove and show the logic. And as well as I already have the diagrams up here to show a couple of the patterns. Now, I don't have every single pattern up here, obviously. You know, there are tons of continuation patterns, a ton of reversal patterns that retail knows. And, you know, it does take some time to really learn those patterns, even from a retail perspective. So I highly recommend that you just study the patterns that I show for now, as those are the most common. I am going to show a couple honorable mentions, though, you know, when I go back into the price chart. So what are some of these patterns and how do we play the reverse against them? The most common chart pattern that a lot of people are familiar with, I would say, are the head and shoulders pattern and the pennant pattern, which we have over here. What is important about the pennant pattern and how do people play it? A pennant pattern is a continuation pattern. So when we are coming from an uptrend, we see price consolidate. The consolidation period kind of looks like this triangle right here, or also known as a pennant. And as soon as we breach the highs of those pennant, we can assume what the continuation of that move from a retail perspective. Now, considering that is what retail is seeing and that is what retail is hoping for, because what retail is doing is their buy stops are sitting right above this pennant, right? Their stops are sitting right here, and they're looking to go long, right? Well, what are SMC traders going to be looking for rather than going long? We're going to be looking to go to the opposite. So we're going to be looking back in history, seeing all this as what? Inducement, right? And we're going to take the reverse. Now, you have two options here. You can either take, you know, at first those instant entries right here, and or you can wait for confirmation, wait for order flow to establish and take that as well. Now this goes for these as well, just in terms of simplicity. I just have it like instant entry, like orders. Anyways, that is how you trade a bullish continuation pennant. How do we do it on the flip side? Well, it's the same thing, just the opposite direction. Bears are coming in, we have our consolidation period, sell stops are hit, SMC comes in, we make the money, right? So what is the next continuation chart patterns that I think are the easier ones to identify as well as trade? So the pennant, the falling channel or the rising channel, and then the channel, right? We want to see some sort of channel buildup coming down similar to this, right? So here's that first bullish impulse, that buildup, right? We come, all these buy stops are hit, and then what do we do as SMC traders? We take the opposite. Same thing goes for the bearish perspective, right? Or the retail bearish perspective. Sell stops are hit, SMC gets in, right? And as you can see, these patterns right here are very similar, right? So the criteria in terms of all of them and the ideologies behind all of them are practically the same, right? However, it's really important to be able to understand how to identify some of these. And we're going to go back into the charts here after I kind of show you some of the reversal patterns as well. On GU, I went ahead and drew out two of the most important reversal patterns that I normally see. Keep in mind, I highly recommend you go into various time frames and backtest these patterns. Majority of the time, I only really find intraday success with playing against chart patterns, right? From a macro perspective, it's very rare that I find success using them. Are they confirmation? Absolutely not. Let me clarify that as well. This is not confirmation in your analysis. This is simply added confluence into your analysis, right? This adds confluence and perhaps validates certain POIs that might arise in the market, right? Do not base your analysis solely off of chart pattern deception, right? It shows manipulation. It shows another form of liquidity in the market. It shows another form of inducement, but do not rely on it, right? So a head and shoulders. What is a head and shoulders? It looks like a head and shoulders, right? So there's a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. And what is most of retail doing? Most of retail are selling right here at the neckline. This is where sell stops are getting hit for head and shoulders traders. Considering that head and shoulders traders are starting to go short right around this area here, we as SMC traders are looking to go long right where right where retail is looking to go short, right? A lot of the time, and I have seen this happen before, is that yes, we will get this reaction here, but then we'll trap all the head and shoulders traders who are trading up here, and we'll actually start the reverse back into this area here. Head and shoulders patterns generally find a lot of ping pong opportunities, as you can see. We trap all the sell stops here, right? And we trap everybody that was up here as well, right? So we're getting the buys into sells whenever we see a head and shoulders type of pattern. Not only does this happen from a retail sell side perspective, but it also happens from a retail buy side. This is the inverse head and shoulders. I want to clarify. There's not always going to be a perfect inducement like we see here. It could be slanted as we have right here, right? It could be slanted going upwards as well. It's just important that we're able to identify that price structure, right? To understand the price is trying to form some sort of chart pattern. The most important chart pattern that you must understand in terms of reversals, right? And this one is played so differently from the rest, is the double top, right? The M's and the W's in the market, right? Now, everyone has their own view of it. Steve Morrow has his view of M's and W's. ICT has his views of M's and W's, right? I have my view. Rem has his view. Everybody's got their own view of M's and W's. And so many people are going to argue this is ICT. So many people are going to argue it's Forexia, right? I really couldn't tell you who came up with this type of trap in the market, but all I can tell you is I've seen it for the past 10 years in which I've been trading. So it's been around forever. It hasn't depleted. Neither do I think this type of trap will ever deplete. I also think it's pretty much one of the highest probability setups you can pretty much get in your trading, especially if you combine it with deviations in the market, especially from the TDI, RSI, or if you want to use a recreated entry helper that we have, right? Anyways, what's important about this double top trap? Generally, what we want to see with a double top or double bottom is it being trapped at the highs or lows of the day, right? And we want to see the proximity of this first leg get cut off by the second leg very quickly, right? This cannot be on the 4-hour chart. Well, this is one day and this is the other. This needs to be intraday. And we're going to go back in the charts, right? And I'm going to show you in hindsight, show the logic, how these can be traded, right? This is not a no loss strategy, right? This is not a perfect thing in the market. It's not always going to work. But generally, these double tops and double bottoms provide a lot of great opportunities in the market, and I highly recommend you backtest them. Anyways, how does it work? Traders come in here. What do most people see within the double top or double bottom? Well, it makes a double top or a double bottom. Here's that double top. What does the market do? It traps out all of the traders who are trying to get in at resistance here. Not only does it try and trap out resistance traders, it's also triggering buy stop orders, perhaps for continuations of this impulse retracement leg, right? Anyways, once both of these traders are trapped here, it is added confluence to have a deviation in the market. What does that mean? We either can have a deviation with Dixie, DXY, which I can explain in another video. If you want to learn more about SMT divergences or Dixie divergences, give me a DM on Instagram at Seisner's.tradingjournal. But anyways, the other divergence we want to see is on the TDI, RSI, or really anything that's going to show an RSI divergence, right? So while this is going up, the divergence must be going down, and that is a divergence in the market, right? That only adds extra confluence. It doesn't mean, right, it needs to have one, but I would say it's higher probability if there is one. So that are pretty much the main chart patterns that I like to trade in terms of finding the deception, the retail deception in the market. Now that we kind of have an understanding of a couple of these patterns, I went ahead and just looked at the past couple of days. I didn't go anywhere far back. I wanted to keep some of the hindsight data as fresh and new as possible. That way you could see these types of formations and these types of patterns are occurring in the market pretty much all the time, every single day. And I went ahead and just back tested this past week for the most part to show you that there's at least one of these setups every single day. Remember, I said for double tops and double bottoms, we must be trading where? At the highs or lows of the day and or the highs of a session. In this case here, you're like, oh, this isn't trading at the high of the day. The high of the day is over here based on this session break. Well, we're going to get into this and I'm going to explain as to why. Right? And you're going to see through everything that I've been teaching you guys on here that you can combine almost all of it. Right? Let's come into here, right, and understand what's happening at first, right? We had this trend line. If you remember what I talked about, we understand that there is trend line manipulation occurring around this area here, right? We can see that all these trend line breakout traders, right? If you watched my last video, are going short all around these areas, right? Sell stops are being triggered all around these areas here for those trend lines. Now, where else does retail try and get in? Well, the smarter version of retail is waiting for that double bottom, right? They see it right here, and now they're playing support, right? And they're trying to get in the market right here. But in reality, what's going on here? Here's that double bottom form. Here they all get trapped. Let's check our TDI to see if there is some sort of divergence. Here we can see there's a divergence in the market, right? And now that there's some sort of divergence in the market, we explode, right? So these double tops and double bottoms are really going to provide some crazy moves in the market, right? Now, keep in mind, this also happened at the low of the day, and based off a daily cycle, right? We had Asian, right? Sweep of the lows, reversal. It's kind of like ICT's Judas swing, if anyone knows what that is, right? Or at least similarly. Now, with time and price, does it relate to the Judas swing? No. But does the variant or shape of it relate to it? Yes. Anyways, just as we know a double top or double bottom can form a trap, so can a double top, right? The only difference with this one is, there's no divergence, right? We're not trading at the high of the day. So what do we have to understand? This is lower probability, even though it worked, right? What else can we understand from these M's and W's? They can get trapped again, right? The lows of these got trapped and now we reversed again, right? We can also understand that they can be used as resistance. This whole thing can become a block right here, this M, right? Because we understand that it is what? All these traders up here got trapped to catalyze this move down. Here's the retest of it, and then we explode. So those double, like I said, double bottoms, double tops, traps, they're really going to help intraday. Are they going to happen every single day? No, so don't look for the same pattern every single day unless you're okay with taking, like one trade a week, and that's fine. And if that's part of your plan, that's part of your plan. Here's some honorable mention patterns that I didn't really discuss within the beginning, but this is a falling wedge, which is generally a reversal pattern, right? And similar to, a head and shoulders, I didn't see any head and shoulders reversal patterns in the past couple of days here. But, here's that falling wedge, right? And generally we want to see reversal. That's what retail is expecting. But what happened here was we came in, we built up this liquidity. Retail was looking for a reversal, but rather it validated this POI here to tell us that we were going to go short, right? Then what happened? Then we entered our rising wedge continuation, right? We came, hit more buy stop orders right here, and then we reversed, right? I really, really want you guys to back test this logic in your trading because I really want you guys to see the beauty of it and that these patterns are forming every day. Another honorable mention here is an expanding bearish triangle, right? If you want to learn more of the chart patterns, I'm telling you, all this is free on YouTube or Google. Please do not pay for a course to learn simple price action or to learn retail methodology. All of retail methodology is free on YouTube, okay? The reason I want to say go ahead and start learning it is just to find some of the deceptive patterns yourself. You know, you'll be able to find certain patterns that other people won't be able to see. You know, at some point, I'm almost positive that ICT, you know, was retail at some point to truly understand the deception and manipulation that occurs in the market, right? Here's that bearish expanding triangle that acts very similar to this over here, right? Where we pop up, expand, come down, and go. Most people just see this and this as liquidity, right? And they're like, oh, well, I already knew that this was liquidity to validate that. But you didn't know the actual intent of the chart pattern, perhaps. Now that you understand the intent of the chart pattern, you know, it gives you a better idea of where the market wants to go, right? How the liquidity is moving. Like I showed with the head and shoulders before, here's that, okay, we trapped everyone that hit sell stop orders here. Everybody that was selling up here, we trapped them too. We come right back in reverse, right? It's so important to identify those true pieces of liquidity, and you can truly see not every move of the market just through chart pattern deception, but quite a few. We come over here and it's the same thing happening over and over. Impulse, channel accumulation, trap, break and retest, right? We trap the break and retest, enter right here. Here's that buildup again, that falling channel. We come up, hit that POI, and now we're retracing again. So hopefully you all can see how chart pattern manipulation and deception is super, super, super powerful. Well, anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you want to learn more about how I trade and how to algo trade, right, be sure to DM me on Instagram at seisners.trading.journal. And if you like the video, if this is going to help with your trading, which I really hope it does, then please give this video a like, please sub, and yeah, give it a comment. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Peace.